Hello, my name's Allison and welcome back. For the next few weeks, I drew illustrations of the Septic egos based off a Death Omen that just fits with them. So get ready, because these next 5 weeks, you're going to be learning about Death Omens. Starting off with Chase and Auntie, based off the Death Omen Doppelganger. Doppelganger is a German word meaning double goer. Doppelgangers aren't just from Germany either. In Irish folklore, they're also known as fetch. And in the Orkney Islands, which is an archipelago in the Northern Isles of Scotland, fear these fairies known as trolls, who would steal human babies and replace them with replicas. And these replicas would fall sick, unfortunately, which is how doppelgangers were seen as a death omen later on. And it is now believed that if you see your own doppelganger, you will immediately die. Now, the idea of seeing a version that is either ghostly, spirit, or really just not quite you is why I felt like this death omen fits perfectly for Chase and Auntie. Both of these characters have the same face, but one of them is a merger's glitch. But another reason I felt like this fit and the inspiration for this illustration is from the last bit in Jacksepticeye's video Dark Silence, where it got these two characters in dark red hallway, with Chase facing off against Auntie, kind of questioning him. So what actually inspired me to work on a series of illustrations like this is what if one of the egos came across the grim black dog and had to deal with it? And because I love Death Omens and learning about them, and even the story I have in mind for 3 of my OCs have Death Omen characters in them, it kind of just made sense for me to put these two things I really enjoy together. That made me start to think about how, in a way, Chase, Henrik, and JJ have all had their brush with death. From Chase in his first appearance in his video, Henrik, and being hurt by Auntie and being gone for 9 months, and JJ trying to fight off Auntie twice in both of his videos. And what if it was the same case with Jackie Boy Man and Marvin? What if all 5 of these characters escaped death so many times that these Death Omens started going after them instead, but still surviving, of course, because that's how they do things. But after thinking about that, I immediately knew what I wanted these illustrations to look like, and just started working on them, which I do hope you guys will end up enjoying for these next few weeks. Now, when it came to actually drawing this piece, because of the whole doppelganger thing, and a duplicate evil of yourself, I wanted Chase and Auntie to be mirrored of each other, but in the same way as the Queen and King cards of a playing card deck. But to still have those differences, such as Chase having closed fists, but Auntie's claws are out and ready to strike, and having Auntie's knife pointed towards Chase, but Chase's Nerf gun is pointed upwards away. Even had their expressions be different too, with Chase being angry with a more closed mouth while Auntie has a wide evil smile on his face. Oh, and I did give Auntie the same scar he got from the animatic, as we showed that this is sometime after that. This art piece took me 5 hours to complete, and a good portion of those hours were used actually just planning out what I want the illustration to look like and doing the line art. And really just doing the coloring only took me like an hour or so to complete. And when I was just planning out the illustration, I ended up having to flip the canvas so many times just to make sure that it was still like correct and balanced and everything ended up working well together. And originally I was going to have the corners be a close-up of a knife and a close-up of a whiskey bottle to represent Auntie and Chase. But later on I ended up deciding against it since I felt like it made the focus of the piece just all over the place, when really I wanted the focus to be on Auntie and Chase instead, so I ended up scrapping it later on. And when it came to drawing out Chase and Auntie's pose, What I did was I first drew a basic sketch for what I wanted the initial pose to look like. Then I duplicated and flipped the duplicate both vertically and horizontally. So then that duplicate mirrored the original. After getting the flat colors and the final line art finish, I started adding in Andy's glitching effects. Starting with saving the characters as a transparent PNG. Then I will take that PNG and put it back in Procreate. After deleting Chase off from that layer, I duplicate Andy twice and created this red-blue 3D effect and messed with layers modes for a bit. I even added some red to Andy's scars for the blood and created this cool effect with it. And after turning on the background again, I started using the rectangle select tool to finalize his glitches. I even had some of his glitches be a bright green as a way to contrast the red in the background. Oh, and I have this head cannon for my own version of Andy. And it's that because he's a glitch, light doesn't reflect off of him and doesn't really exactly work on him like anyone else. So I'll say for Chase, light reflects off of him and has shadows and he can cast his own shadow and all that. Andy doesn't. Light goes right through him, like he's not even there. Which is why I don't do any shading for him compared to the shading I did for Chase. It's like he's a digital image. He just has his own light source, in a way. After doing some basic shading for Chase, such as on his eyes, his hat, and the hand holding the Nerf gun, I added in eye bags to make him look real heckin' tired. And then added in more shading for his shoes and arms. After the basic shading, I felt like it just wasn't good enough yet, and there needed to be more. So I took the base layer, where I have all my clipping masks connected to, and duplicated. Then moved it to be above the line art, and changed the layer to multiply, and lowered the opacity to 55%. This layer was meant to be my shadow layer, and since the light source is red and a very, very warm color, I needed the shadow layer to be the complementary color of the light source, or a much more cooler color. So I changed the color of the multiply layer to a blue, then started adding in the red rim lights around Chase. Oh, and as a final touch, I added this 2-line border around the illustration and add in the word Doppelganger at the bottom. That's just kind of like a final touch that I end up really liking and end up doing for the other 4 illustrations as well. And that is the process to me drawing Chase and Andy, inspired by the Doppelganger Death Omen. This was a lot of fun to draw, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And for next week, I'm going to be drawing Dr. Sneep, which is another one I was super happy with how it turned out. So hope to see you there. This will be available as a print on my RedBubble store, which I will have links to that and my other social media pages in the description below. Thank you so much for drawing, and I hope you have an amazing day.